The county clerk slid a document across the counter, showing that someone had filed a legal claim against my house for $38,000 in unpaid HOA fees. I had owned the property for 6 years, and there had never been an HOA in my neighborhood. My name is Lien, and I am a 39-year-old real estate broker with 15 years of experience working the Atlanta market. I understand property titles, county records, and lien filings better than most practicing attorneys. Seeing a fraudulent claim attached to my home was not just illegal. It was personal. I took the paperwork home and scrutinized every line. The claim was filed by an entity calling itself the Piedmont Hills Community Association, listing an address that turned out to be nothing more than a UPS store mailbox. The signatures were notarized by someone whose commission could not be verified through the state database. Every detail screamed fraud. Yet the document had been officially recorded by the county, meaning it now contaminated my title and could derail any sale or refinance. I started making calls immediately. The phone number listed led only to a generic voicemail. The supposed law firm named on the filing did not exist in the Georgia State Bar Registry. The notary stamp belonged to an individual whose license had been revoked 3 years earlier. Every component was fabricated, but the lien itself was very real, sitting on my property record like a malignant growth. 2 days later, 3 men wearing black sleeveless tactical vests showed up at my front door. The leader, a heavy-set man with a smug grin and a badge reading Collections Director Hartley, handed me a notice of foreclosure. Mr. Lien, you have 72 hours to pay $38,000 in outstanding assessments plus $12,000 in legal fees and penalties, or we initiate foreclosure proceedings on this property. I glanced at the notice, then at the 3 men standing on my porch like they owned it. The other 2 wore name tags reading Officer Brennan and Officer Walsh, and their unmarked black F-250 was parked in my driveway, blocking my vehicle. This neighborhood has never had an HOA. I said calmly, I'm a real estate broker. I verified that before I purchased. That lien you filed is fraudulent, and showing up here to collect on it is extortion. Hartley pulled out a tablet displaying what appeared to be official HOA formation documents. Your property was incorporated into the Piedmont Hills Community Association in 2019. You were notified by certified mail. Failure to respond constituted acceptance of membership and financial responsibility. With penalties, you now owe $50,000. I looked him straight in the eye. Show me the certified mail receipt with my signature. Brennan, shorter with a tight buzz cut, stepped forward. We don't have to show you anything. The lien is recorded with the county. That's all the proof we need. Pay up or lose your house. I pulled out my phone and began recording. I'm documenting this interaction. You filed a fraudulent lien against my property and are now attempting to collect money based on it. That is extortion. Leave my property immediately. Walsh, taller and leaner, moved closer to the doorway. We're not leaving until you pay or sign a payment plan. The lien gives us authority to be here. You need to cooperate. I shook my head. I'm a licensed real estate broker. I know how liens work. They don't grant you the right to trespass or demand immediate payment. They allow you to file suit through the courts. What you're doing right now is criminal. Hartley's expression hardened. We've done this dozens of times. The county accepted our filing. That gives us standing. You can pay the $50,000 and we'll remove the lien, or you can fight in court for years and spend twice that in legal fees. I'll take my chances in court, I replied. Now get off my property. Brennan shoved a document toward me. Sign this acknowledgement of debt and payment agreement, or we proceed with foreclosure tomorrow. I'm not signing anything, I said. Leave now or I call the police. Walsh leaned in closer, lowering his voice. You really want to fight this? We'll make your life hell. Every deal you try to close, every refinance, every license renewal, you'll see this lien. It'll destroy your business. That threat was far too precise. They knew I was a broker. They had researched me and chosen this scam specifically to cripple my livelihood. This was calculated extortion. I dialed 911 while they stood there. I need officers at 2847 Oakmont Drive. 3 men are on my property attempting to collect money based on a fraudulent lien. They're refusing to leave and threatening my business. The dispatcher confirmed units were en route. Hartley finally stepped back. "You're making a huge mistake. That lien isn't going anywhere. We'll be back with the sheriff and foreclosure papers." "I'll be waiting," I said. They left, but the damage was already done. Even fraudulent. That lien would appear on every title search and stall every transaction I touched. As a real estate broker, my reputation and clean record were everything. And these criminals had found the perfect pressure point. Atlanta police arrived 15 minutes later. Officer Martinez took my statement and reviewed the video recording. "This is extortion," he said. "Do you have the documents they're using?" I handed him the fake lien filing, the bogus HOA paperwork, and the foreclosure notice. Martinez requested a detective, and within an hour, Detective Sarah Chun from the Financial Crimes Unit was seated in my living room, carefully reviewing the evidence. "This is sophisticated," Chun said after reviewing the entire file. "They filed an official legal claim with the county, using forged notary seals and completely fake associations. The claim itself is fraudulent, but removing it isn't simple. Without their cooperation, it requires a court order, which means time and money. That's where the scam works. They show up, claim authority, and offer to make it disappear immediately if you pay them directly. How many people have they done this to?" I asked. "We've received 3 reports in the past month alone," she replied. "All real estate professionals or people involved in lending. They target individuals who understand how devastating a legal claim on a title can be and who might pay just to make it go away quickly." "I'm not paying them anything," I said, "but I need that claim removed. It's already affecting my ability to do business." Shin nodded. "We're working on it. In the meantime, I need you to file a civil lawsuit against them. It creates pressure and gives us additional tools to investigate." I contacted an attorney the next day. Mark Sullivan was a real estate litigation specialist with experience handling title fraud cases. After reviewing everything, he was just as furious as I was. "They're counting on people being intimidated or too busy to fight back," Sullivan said. "We're going to sue them for fraud, slander of title, extortion, and intentional interference with business relations. We're seeking $50,000 in actual damages, plus punitive damages." We filed the lawsuit 3 days later, naming the fake Piedmont Hills Community Association, the 3 men who came to my house, and several additional names listed on the fraudulent documents. The lawsuit was served, and that's when things became interesting. No one responded. The addresses were fake. The names went nowhere. The supposed association did not exist. But the filing allowed Detective Chun to obtain warrants for phone records and financial data. That's when the scope of the operation became clear. The investigation revealed that the 3 men were part of a larger scheme that had filed more than 40 fraudulent legal claims across Metro Atlanta over the previous 18 months. Hartley, whose real name was Marcus Hartley, had a criminal history that included mortgage fraud and identity theft. Brennan, actually Kevin Brennan, had prior convictions for forgery. Walsh, whose real name was Tyler Walsh, was already on probation for financial crimes. They worked together to file fake legal claims, then showed up in person to collect payments directly from terrified homeowners. The scheme had brought in more than $200,000. Most victims paid between $5,000 and $15,000 to make the claims disappear. Only a handful had fought back. I was the first real estate professional who understood the system well enough to immediately recognize the fraud and document everything. The 3 men were arrested 4 months after they showed up at my house. Detective Chun and her team had built a massive case detailing the entire operation. Bank records showed exactly where the extortion payments went. Email evidence revealed how targets were selected and how each approach was planned. The criminal case was overwhelming. But my civil lawsuit was still pending, and the fraudulent claim was still sitting on my property title. Sullivan filed emergency motions to have the claim removed, but the court process moved slowly. In the meantime, 2 real estate deals fell through because title searches flagged the claim and buyers backed out. The criminal trial took place 10 months after the initial incident. I testified about the threats, the extortion attempt, and the damage to my business. Other victims testified about paying thousands of dollars out of fear. The prosecution presented mountains of evidence proving systematic fraud. All three defendants were convicted on multiple counts, including fraud, extortion, forgery, and racketeering. Marcus Hartley was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Kevin Brennan received 9 years. Tyler Walsh was sentenced to 8 years. The judge ordered full restitution for all victims and specifically noted that targeting people's homes and livelihoods made the crimes particularly heinous. My civil lawsuit took another 6 months, but after the criminal convictions, it was largely a formality. The court awarded me $50,000 in compensatory damages, $75,000 in punitive damages, and ordered the immediate removal of the fraudulent legal claim from my property title. The judgment also covered all legal fees and the business income one lost from deals that fell apart. Collecting the money was more difficult. Most of their funds had already been spent or hidden, but asset forfeiture from the criminal case recovered some of it through seized assets and structured payment plans. I eventually collected about 60% of the judgment. More importantly, the fraudulent claim was finally removed and my property record was clean again. After everything was finalized, Sullivan and I met for coffee. "You did the right thing by fighting back," he said. "Most people would have just paid them to make it stop." "I couldn't let them win," I replied. "Not just for me, but for everyone else they would have targeted." He raised his coffee cup. "To stopping criminals who think fake paperwork makes them untouchable, and to knowing your rights and refusing to be intimidated," I said. "I still work as a real estate broker in Atlanta. My business fully recovered within a year of the claim being removed. Now I educate my clients about title fraud and warn them about scams involving fake legal claims and HOA schemes. Every time I run a title search and it comes back clean, I think about those 3 men who tried to steal my property with fraudulent paperwork. If you ever discover a legal claim on your property that you don't recognize, do not panic, and do not pay anyone who demands immediate payment. Contact the county clerk and obtain copies of all filed documents. Hire a real estate attorney who specializes in title issues. File police reports if anyone attempts to collect on suspicious claims. Legitimate legal claims go through courts and proper legal channels, not men in tactical gear showing up at your door demanding cash. These criminals rely on fear and confusion. They assume you'll pay instead of fighting back. Prove them wrong. Document everything. Get professional help. Pursue both criminal and civil remedies. Your property and your rights are worth defending. If you've dealt with title fraud or fake legal claims, share your experience in the comments. Subscribe for more stories about protecting your property and standing up to criminals who hide behind fake legal authority.